What's going on, everybody? It's the Okie Doke Show, and I'm Zoe, and I'm standing here with Nina from IndieCade.
Hello, everyone.
And she's going to tell us about a cool product. Now, when we were walking by, I noticed this booth, and when it said indie, it's kind of like Indie Film Festival, but this is going to be more on the indie game aspect, correct?
Yeah, we have actually been described as the Sundance of video games.
The Sundance of video games, which is a big deal. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know?
So here at our IndieCade booth, the ESA invites us out to E3. IndieCade is the International Festival of Independent Video Games, or not really video games even, just all games. We have things such as interactive performances that are right here at E3. And our goal is that we want to show the world that, you know, there are other smaller indies doing really cool things that maybe wouldn't be able to come to E3 without us. Yeah.
So all over the world, basically there's gamers, or not gamers, but developers that have their games and they haven't really put it out. They're not on the mainstream or anything like that yet, right? So you put out basically like kind of like a welcome mat for everybody to submit all their games to you. And how does that work? How does, like, if I'm just a developer and I want to get my game into your show, how would that work?
So all of our events are curated events by our jury committee. And so at the beginning of the year, we put out a call to all indies, you know, please submit your games to us. We have 4 events throughout the year. We have, of course, our E3 event. We have IndieCade East out in New York. We have IndieCade Europe in Paris. And our flagship event, IndieCade Festival, takes place here in LA too.
Oh, okay. So this is like, what would you say is your biggest event? This one here, or?
I would actually say IndieCade Festival is our flagship event.
Really? I'm gonna have to get over there and check that one out. How many people you think show up on that event? This is pretty big over here at E3 in Los Angeles, but
E3 is great. But for our festival, I would say several thousand at least. I don't know hard numbers though, unfortunately, off the top of my head.
And then so as far as libraries, so like I see there's a lot of gamers, or actually a lot of little setups here for different developers, right? So how many developers are you usually working with? How many games people can run around and play? Or
so here at our E3 event, we usually do about anywhere from 20 to 35 games. I think we have 30 this year. At our festival, however, we have anywhere from 100 to 150 games. Not all of them are necessarily running at the same time. You know, some of them have time slots, but I would say a good 50 of them have permanent spots in our festival and are just showcasing for the 3 days that we are open.
Okay, all right. So how did this start though? Were you like, you know, how did this begin? How many years ago? Like, you know.
Well, it was just our CEO, Stephanie Barish, one day was just like, you know, I really love indie games. Do you know Tale of Tales?
I do not know Tale. My co-host might know. Do you know Tale of Tales? No? No, it's not.
Tale of Tales created Sunset most recently, but they've been doing games for a bit. And Stephanie was a big fan of them, and she was just like, you know, why isn't there a festival that showcases smaller games that are doing kind of very innovative things, either in terms of game design or narrative mechanics? So she decided to just create her own festival then.
Oh, okay. And how many years ago you said this was it?
We are actually celebrating our 10th anniversary this year.
Wow, 10 out of 10 years. That's awesome. Now, has anybody that submitted themselves got picked up or moved on? Is there any like feel-good stories that came out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say. So like one of our, I guess, probably more well-known is Genova Chen with Flower and Journey and that game company. I think he showcased his very first game, Cloud, at one of our earlier IndieCade events, and then later on with Flow. And of course, he got picked up by Sony, was able to put all of those other games that were amazing, he and his team.
Wow, that's awesome. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, even, right?
I'm sorry,
there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right? There's always light at the end of the tunnel, right? If you're always trucking to it, right? Now, is there any other like competing events that you guys would think of as like your competition maybe, or anything like? Because I've never seen something like this. This is actually my first time seeing something like this. I don't know of any, but I'm just curious if there's a big market for it.
I wouldn't say competing, because like I think all of us are just trying to help indies and adjust in slightly different ways. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just different. And I think that's a good thing. I think we're all kind of needed there. Because I know that there's the Indie Mega booth, and I love them. Like, they do slightly different things, and I think both of us, you know, should exist and need to exist, honestly.
Right. Now, do you foresee maybe even creating like tournaments down the line, or like doing something like as big as the organization you have, right? Do you see it like evolving into something? Because, you know, eSports has grown so huge, right? And it's like I don't know, like in a couple of years it's supposed to be like in the billions type dollar industry.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself growing with that, or like are you guys going to maintain the course of just trying to get the games out there?
I think our main mission is just like bringing attention to like different indie games, diverse and diverse creators as well. I don't know if we ever will get like as huge as an eSport, something like Overwatch or League of Legends or anything.
Right.
But I mean, I don't think we terribly are concerned about that because we want to put the developers first and help them. So anything that would really help them, that's what we would want to do.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And now, if you're a developer and you're looking for ways to get in, this is definitely a good way. You want to go ahead and put out your guys' information, so if anybody wanted to submit themselves and.
Yeah. If you have any questions, you can email Jury, Jury, at IndieCade.com. Our submissions is going to end fairly soon. I think by the end of this month, we're going to be closing.
Okay, and that's for what date for the next event?
Our next event is probably going to be our IndieCade Festival in October.
Okay.
This year we're going to be in Little Tokyo from October 6th to 8th.
Okay.
But once you submit to one submission, you are eligible for all of events.
Okay.
So all of these E3 submissions are also eligible for our festival.
So if I submit once, I can pretty much go to all of the different events,
yes.
if selected.
You have that ability, yes.
Oh, okay, right on. Well, thank you, Nina, for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming
This
out.
is the Okie Doke Show, and if you're a developer, definitely look at her.